Hey, you guys. Welcome back. You're listening to the Introverted Nerd Watches. I am your host, Reese, and I'm back for some more Cloak and Dagger, y'all. So this week I'll be covering 2 episodes. Season 1, episode 8, Ghost Stories, and episode 9, Backbreaker. So I told you in the last Cloak and Dagger episode, that I was going to be doing a double. I was going to be doubling up this week so that I could, catch up. And I wasn't really sure about it, but now I am so happy that I did, because these episodes really, they sort of go together in the right way. I really like the way they complement each other. So I'm glad my laziness actually helped make the podcast a better place. So everybody should be thanking me, and I had the foresight to know that I could be lazy and that everything would work out fine. So before we get into anything, I want to tell you that my neighbor is having construction done, like some pretty extensive construction, and they've got like machines and shit out there. So if you hear a lot of loudness in the background, please excuse it. My neighbor apologizes for being such a dick as to do construction on a fucking Sunday. Or maybe they don't apologize, but let's just pretend they're nice people. And they have to have construction done on a goddamn Sunday. Anyway, before I get too upset about it, you need to subscribe to the podcast, because there's fun things going on, like Cloak and Dagger, and we've got Fear the Walking Dead coming back in a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks now. So, and we got Saved by the Bell, so that's always fun. So, I don't know what other shows that I'm going to add, but I'm taking recommendations. So you want to be up to date on everything I've got going on, subscribe to the podcast. It's available on Apple Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher. I'm on Spotify and iHeartRadio. I am everywhere you can get your podcast. So go there, subscribe, and while you're there, leave me a 5-star review if you're doing it on Apple Podcasts, or rate and review the podcast wherever you can do it. I will read all the 5-star reviews on this podcast. And I have to check that because I haven't checked it in a while. So sorry if you've left a 5-star review, and I'm booing you if you haven't already left a review. And while you're doing all of that, because I'm assigning jobs to the audience this week. While you're doing that, recommend the podcast to your friends and your family, because I want more people to listen, and I need your help doing that. So rate, review, recommend. Do all of that for me. It sounds like a lot, but it's not that much. I mean, this is free shit, so don't complain. Just do what I say. Was that too mean? I don't care. Anyway, Cloak and Dagger. So these were pretty good episodes, like a pretty good lead in to the finale. I'm not ready for this finale, you guys. Like in episode 8 in Ghost Stories, you feel like everything sort of comes together and it ends like fairly positively. And then in episode 9, shit really just falls apart for Tandy and Ty. Tandy, Ty, O'Reilly, things just fall apart for all of the protagonists. I'll say, for all of the people that I feel are kind of good guys. So, Ghost Stories. I mean, I'm gonna kind of jump back and forth between both episodes. So if you haven't seen both episodes, just know I'm not going in any chronological order. I'm just going to bring stuff up as they come to me and as I read my notes. So, episode 8, Ghost Stories, is Tandy and Ty sort of taking taking control of their situations. Tandy is being proactive and trying to clear her father's name, and Ty is doing the same thing, and that he is trying to get he's trying to get Connors, the dickhead. I fucking hate that guy. Oh my God, just looking at his face. Like, that actor, like he's like almost on Joffrey Baratheon level for me. Like, just looking at that guy, I'm like, oh my God, I just want to rip his teeth out of his head. He's so terrible. Anyway, I can't, just looking at his face, like I hate his face. So that's what they're doing. They're both trying to take control of their situations. And this episode takes place on the anniversary of the deaths of Tyrone and what's Tandy's dad's name? Nathan Bowen. So it's also about how they're dealing with this anniversary. You know, Tandy goes to visit her mom and she brings her coffee. And then Tandy does something I really hate. Her mom is like her mom knows it's the anniversary. I mean, she's not high or drunk or anything at this point. And Tandy brings her coffee and it's like this nice little thing. And then Tandy says, "You sure you don't want a shot or something in it?" And it's like, damn it, Tandy, why do you have to do that? Like, you know, your mom has drug problem, drinking problem. Like, your mom has a ton of problems. It's probably not the greatest idea to ask her if she wants a drink, especially if she's not asking for one. Like, Tandy really does look for the negative in everything. Like, you know, this is a good thing. My mom is like sober today. I can talk to her. We're both here to like celebrate my dad's life, but I gotta bring her down a little bit. Oh, Tandy. It's really annoying. And, you know, Tandy and her mom do sort of a like a remembrance kind of thing, like a little memorial. They don't do it every year because I feel like they've in the episode, I think they said that they skipped a few years, like I guess on years when they weren't speaking to each other, but now since shit is cool, they decide to do it this year, and they release a balloon on the day of his death, and sort of spend time together, like celebrating his life and all that, which is nice. Tyrone's family, on the other hand, shit is like cold there. They don't talk about it. It's acknowledged. Everybody is nobody says that it's the day Tyrone died, but you can tell that everything is wrong. Everything is tense. They're not speaking to each other. They're sitting in the kitchen having breakfast. They're not speaking to each other. They don't mention Billy. Tyrone is he's like sitting there looking like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what can I say? He doesn't want to say anything to upset anybody. It's really uncomfortable. So yeah, and it's so weird that you have Tandy, who has like a really shaky relationship with her mom, and she goes to talk to her and everything. They're like smiling and talking to each other, and it's really nice. And at Tyrone's house, it's just the most tense. I really like that they play with that juxtaposition of their lives and how things, how things go back and forth between them. Like, sometimes Ty and his parents are getting along in their family, but other times it's like really uncomfortable. And the same with Tandy and her mom. So I like that the way things work out, the way they are how there's really different, but how so much of their lives is the same. So yeah, I enjoy that. And so Tandy goes to see Ivan in the hospital. And I'm like, this dude is not safe, because when she goes there, she sees Scarborough, the Roxanne dude, coming out of his room, and he and Tandy have like a stare down. Shit is uncomfortable. And it's like, does he recognize Tandy from the night that she faked the her flat tire and everything? Does he recognize her? Or is he just looking at her like he would look at anybody who was coming to her room, to Ivan Hess's room, at that time, like when he just woke up? I'm like, as soon as I saw that guy, I was like, oh my God, he's going to kill. They killed him. Oh, but no, Ivan Hess is fine. And I think he's fine because he tells Tandy that, he couldn't tell Scarborough anything because he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember anything about, the accident that day. So I think he's safe, as long as he doesn't remember anything, or as long as he can pretend he doesn't remember anything. I'm guessing that at some point his memory is going to be jogged. But anyway, he tells Tandy that he has information that he didn't share with Scarborough, and it's that Nathan wrote a memo about the danger of the rig, and he put the memo, and he put other evidence he had that Roxanne was like cutting corners and wasn't putting in the safety precautions. He put all of that information in a safety deposit box. So if Tandy can get that, she can get the evidence she needs to do what she needs to do. And what she's going to end up doing is taking Scarborough hostage. And Ivan warns Tandy that Roxanne is dangerous, and it's like, oh my God, dude, like you're in more danger than she is. Like, you shouldn't be given. How old is Tandy? Is what I want to know. How old is she? Because I really don't understand. Like, I believe it's in episode 8, and somewhere around the end of Ghost Stories, where Mina offers Tandy a job at Roxanne, working under her. And I'm like, isn't Tandy like 16 or 17? She has a degree. She might even have a master's degree or something like that. Like, she is an educated woman. What kind of job is she offering Tandy at Roxanne, working with her? I mean, I understand Tandy could read blueprints, and she paid attention to her father when she was growing up, so she can read that shit. But it's like, I don't get it. I don't understand how old she is, because Ty is in school every day and Tandy is just walking around on the streets. But aren't they supposed to be the same age? I mean, I don't know. They are supposed to be the same age. They look like when we see baby Tandy and baby Ty, they look like they're the same age. They're supposed to be around 16 or 17 years old. So it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't really make any sense. I mean, I get it. Tandy is like a runaway, so I get that she's not in school. I don't understand why Mina would offer her a job, but whatever. So Tandy, always being Tandy. So Tandy goes to Ty's house, and Ty doesn't want to let her in. He's like, basically like, girl, what the fuck are you doing here? I've never had a girl over here. It's so cute. He's like, I've never had a girl over here that my parents know about, because we know he had a girl over there and was fucking her like a few days ago. So, and Tandy's like, come on, guy. Like, I'm good with parents. Like, let me in. And you think that they're being like that she's trying to be friendly, and she's like, oh Ty, you want me to give you a hug, can we hold hands or something like that, and then she's like making jokes out of it and shit. So you think that they're getting closer, but what Tandy is really there for is to steal his mom's Roxanne badge, her name, her ID badge. And I'm like, damn it, Tandy. Like, why do you have to be like that? But it's sort of like I feel like it's sort of the same thing that she had with Mina, that, she's trying to be she's being friendly, like he's her mark at this point, like they're her mark at this point, because she's there, she wants to steal, but she's also kind of being nice and trying to actually be friendly and develop the friendship. So I mean, I'm half mad at her, but she does meet Tyrone's parents, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing here? But nicely and smiling. And she has to explain that her dad died the same day as, Tyrone's brother. And she just wanted to check up on Ty. And his parents are like, that's really nice, but we're having breakfast right now. And it's basically like, damn girl, you should call before you go to anybody's house. Like, that's a rule for any time. Like, Ty was cool with it, but his parents were like, they were not here for her like bullshit. They were not trying to hear Tandy. Like, oh, Tandy, cute, but get the fuck out of here. We don't really want to deal with this right now. And she asks if they're going to be doing anything for to celebrate Billy, and they're like, no. And they walk out, basically signaling to Ty, like, get this girl out of here. But Tandy does end up, before she steals the ID badge, she does end up inviting Ty to the little memorial service that her and her mom are going to have at the river to release the balloon. So that's nice, I guess. And so once we get through all of that, Ty and Tandy put their plans into action. Ty sees his father crying and his parents really on edge. So he's sort of, pushed forward to take action at this point because, all of them are suffering. So what he does is he goes to O'Reilly, who, okay, I'm having some problems with O'Reilly. Ty doesn't go to O'Reilly. O'Reilly shows up at Tyrone's house, basically trying to warn him because Connors is also remembering that this is the anniversary when he killed Billy. But he's also, and he's really on edge, but he also has a sketch of Ty, from seeing Ty at the, where Dwayne was killed. And he has a really good sketch of Ty. I mean, it's almost like a photograph. It's so good. So he knows what Ty looks like, and he is after him. So O'Reilly goes to Ty's house to warn him, and he's like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? How are you showing up at my house? And I'm like, yes, Ty, yes, say it again, because you're okay. O'Reilly is supposed to be a seasoned cop. She's supposed to know better. How do you show up at Tyrone's house in broad daylight, unannounced? You have his phone number. You could have called him to warn him, but you show up at his house? Come on, be better. And I really don't understand her because I feel like we're supposed to think that she's a good cop, or that she's a seasoned officer, but she just does all of these young things that make me feel like she's a rookie or something. And it's just, she's a detective. It's not supposed to be that way. She feels really immature, I think. And Ty is this like 17-year-old boy, and he's like dictating plans to her, and it's like, no. Like, no, it's not supposed to be this way. And the O'Reilly I remember from the comic book isn't this way. So I don't know, maybe it's a freeform thing. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not making me hate the show or anything, but I feel like, it's too late to do anything about her this season. Like, this season, O'Reilly is done. It's already been filmed. But I feel like they have to do something about her character next season, because I don't love her. And I feel like we're supposed to like her and respect her. And think that she's somebody that Tandy and Ty can like depend on, but she's not that character right now. And she feels like she's more their age than an authority figure that knows better and that could sort of guide them. So that's how I feel about O'Reilly. But anyway, Ty tells her he has a plan, and then he goes to see her, and she's there with the cop that she had sex in the car with. What's his name? I wrote it down. His name is Fuchs. But that's such like he's such like not a memorable character. And I knew as soon as we saw him, he had a ton of lines in the beginning of this episode. I was like, okay, this guy is going to die eventually. I didn't think he would die in this episode the way that he did, but I was like, oh, he has like death written across his forehead. It could have been just like, I'm going to die. He could have just stopped in the middle of his dialogue and been like, I'm going to die later, you guys. You know that, right? Because that's how obvious it was that he was just not long for this world. But anyway, he and O'Reilly have like this relationship now, and he's calling her his girlfriend, and he made pancakes for her. I was like really side-eyeing this relationship, because when we see them having sex in the car and they're handing notes to each other on the coffee cup, it's sort of like this casual thing, and she's like using him for information, and they're both cool with it. But now he's her boyfriend and they're kissing, and it's like, you guys are not in a relationship. Like, stop this. But anyway, Tyrone goes to see O'Reilly at her apartment, I guess, and Fuchs is there, and he's telling her what he wants to do, and what he wants to do is basically haunt Connors and force him into a confession. And he's telling O'Reilly and Fuchs, like, here's my plan. And he's showing her how he bloodied up a shirt to make it look like where Billy got shot. And he's going to pretend to be a ghost. And they're looking at him like, okay, like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then Ty puts on his cloak, which was like, nice. And he's like, I think I can use this to do it. And he puts on his cloak, and he's about to show them. And what I thought was going to happen was that he was going to try to show them his powers, and it wasn't going to work. So he would have just been standing there looking silly in a sequin cloak. But obviously it works because they decide to go along with his plan. But it was so funny because Ty is like the low key comedy of this show, because he's talking to them and he's trying to explain his plan, and he's talking to Connors. Not Connors. He's talking to O'Reilly and Fuchs, and he's telling them like, this is what I'm going to do. And he's like, well, haven't you ever read The Telltale Heart? And Fuchs is like, yeah, I've read it before in high school. And Ty is like looking at him like, really? And he's like, well, yeah, I read the abridged version. And Ty is like, dude, it's a short story. And he's like calling him out, like basically telling him he's a dumbass and he doesn't know anything. And it's like, both of you are getting schooled by this little boy. Like, you're two cops and you're getting schooled by this kid. You should be embarrassed. But anyway, that's how he explains his plan. And then Tandy goes to Roxanne after she has the ID. She goes to Roxanne and she basically just, fucks their shit up. She takes her daggers out and she's like cutting all the power to the building, ruining all of their, like, the electrical boxes and shit. So they're going to have problems for a little while trying to get that shit fixed. And it's all in an effort to kidnap and hold Scarborough hostage, and she gets him. And when she has him tied up and she's talking to him and she's showing him all of the evidence she has against them, and he's obviously trying to deny it, like, nobody's going to believe that, anybody can make that shit up. And she's telling him, well, I'm going to go to the police and I'm going to go to the press, and it's basically going to just going to fuck your shit up for a long time to have, journalists and shit looking into this shit. Like, it's going to really, like, fuck you up. So, you better listen to what I'm saying. And he's telling her, like, okay, calm down, little girl. We can work something out. Give me the evidence and I'll give you enough money to take care of you and your mom for, I don't know that you could take care. I don't know that he says for the rest of your life, but it's enough money to make her and her mom comfortable. And Tandy is like, I'm not here for money. I'm here to clear my dad's good name. And this is when I feel like you get a real moment from Scarborough where he was like, your dad's good name. Like, how well did you know your father? And that throws Tandy off too. And she doesn't want to hear that shit. And she gets angry and she leaves him there and she tells him, like, call me back. Call me in a few days if you want to, actually talk about this shit. And she leaves him there tied up. But it's the first time somebody pushes back against Tandy's idea that her dad was sort of this sainted figure that she remembers. So yeah. And you don't know what's going to happen after that, but it's the first time where you feel Scarborough is being, like, real in that moment. He's not just trying to manipulate this girl. Because he was really thrown off by, your dad's good name. Like, who? Like, girl, really? So Tandy is about to get a wake-up call later in this episode because, and all throughout the episode, we're getting flashbacks of young Tandy and baby Ty, too. We're getting the night of they wake up, like, or the day they wake up on the beach, like, what happens to them. Tandy walks home and I can't believe nobody tries to help these little kids. Tandy is in her, like, her tutu and everything, her ballet uniform, but she has a bloody slipper on, like, and she's walking down the street and nobody is, like, looking at this little girl. Nobody's trying to help this little girl. I mean, she's a tiny little baby Tandy. But Tandy this is the first time that we see Tandy, like, baby Tandy, start picking pockets and shit, because she picks some lady's pocket for her cell phone, and that's when she makes a call. She tries to call her mom, but she just gets the answering machine. And we see baby Ty as well. When he wakes up on the beach, he's carrying Tandy's ballet slipper. And he actually comes up on, what's her name? Evita's auntie. And the auntie is the one doing the, the guided tour thing. And she's talking, I forget what she's talking about, but he actually talks to her. he asks her a question because he stood there listening to her, explaining everything. And he asks her a question, and she stops and she asks him where his mama is. And then he just runs away. But they meet each other early on. And you don't get any indication that she recognizes him as like, what she recognizes later in the episode or earlier in the season. But, I guess it's kind of cool that she met young Ty. Not that either, no, like, I don't even know that it matters because neither one of them remember it. So Tandy and Ty, they meet up at the river with her mom to, no. Let me talk about what Ty does, because Tandy already did that thing with Scarborough. What Ty does is he haunts Connors, and he makes Connors believe that he's seeing the ghost of Billy. And he gets him to confess. It's actually really cool to see Ty using his powers. Like he's like disappearing and reappearing all over the place. He takes Connor's gun, but then he puts it back, and Connors is like, he's not like, he feels he's being gaslighted. And what's her name is O'Reilly is there, and she is part of this, making him think he's going crazy because he sees Ty over in the distance, and he's telling her, like, don't you see him standing over there? Don't you see it? And she's like pretending that she's not seeing it. So they're like, I'm here for them driving him crazy, and it actually does work to get a confession out of him. Ty tells him, I'm going to haunt you for the rest of your life and all that shit. So they get a confession. Fuchs is the one that is recording it, records his confession. And they arrest him and they take him in, and, everything is looking good, happy at the end of this episode, until we get to the little memorial. So Ty, Tandy, and Tandy's mom are at the river. They have their balloon all ready, and they decide to have a moment of silence. So the mom grabs both of their hands, and they immediately, Tandy's hands start to glow, and and Ty starts to get the, the black like shroud, and they go into her. I don't know whether that's when their powers are working in tandem. I'm guessing that instead of getting the best and the worst, you're getting what really happened. So you're getting the truth instead of getting Tandy's side of somebody's, greatest hopes and Ty's side of their greatest fears. You're getting what happened, what actually happened. So what happens is that they're in the woods. They go to the red door. It's the red door of Tandy's old house, and they walk in, and there's a movie theater, and we have her mom is the only one sitting in a theater, and on the movie screen is this memory playing, or what you think is a memory at first, of Tandy's mom bringing her dad a cup of like coffee or tea while he's doing work. And, it's like this nice, happy memory. But Tandy keeps walking toward the screen, and her dagger comes out and she cuts the screen open. And then they're actually inside the house, the memory, the actual memory, instead of what is on the screen. And what actually happens is that Tandy's mom brings the cup of coffee, puts it on the table, and Nathan knocks it over, and he gets so upset that he backhands the mom across the face. And Tandy and Ty see this, and then they get pulled out of the memory, and it's like, oh shit, Tandy's mom, like, her dad is not who she thought he was. Her mom has been hiding it from her for all this time. So Tandy has spent the last 8 years thinking that her dad is like this like great guy, and that her mom was the problem. You know, her mom had a drug problem, her mom had an alcohol problem, her mom is just that her mom was the problem. And obviously her mom had a ton of problems, and you know, but she's also a woman that was in this abusive relationship, and she has sort of been taking all of Tandy's shit for all this time. So it's just really sad for both of them. You know, it does. I mean, and it doesn't excuse her mom's behavior. Like, she was in an abusive relationship, but she also had responsibilities to her daughter. So it's a complicated thing, but it does force Tandy to look at things differently. And it actually forces her to, you know, everything has sort of been ripped away from her. You know, her goal has been to clear her father's good name. But now, you know, that's just sort of torn away from her because he's not who she thought he was. So she ends up calling Scarborough and telling him, you know, she'll take the money. And she cries afterwards. And it's like really sad. It's like, oh, you know, you have to take you don't have to take the money, but it's just sort of like, ugh. And, you know, and it feels kind of icky, but, you know, that's what happens. So, at the end of the episode, O'Reilly walks into her apartment and she's calling for Fuchs, and turns out she goes in and she opens the refrigerator door or the freezer door, and Fuchs is dead in the freezer. Episode ends, and it's like, what the fuck? And the next episode you start with, you know, you get what happened, and it's like, oh, you know, everything was going good, and then you get the real stories, and that just fucking sucks. And everything was going good throughout the episode, and then the last, you know, like 3 minutes, everything falls apart for everybody. So Fuchs is dead, you know, God bless his, you know, cold dead soul. And you know, in episode 9, things just sort of continue to fall apart. And you get the backdrop of this is the drunk priest is giving a, you know, a lecture, or he's teaching the class. I don't know what class this is, but he's teaching about the hero's journey, and regression and all this. So he's sort of the backdrop of the whole episode, and you sort of see everything sort of, falling in. You know, he's explaining everything as it happens on screen. So, I mean, I guess I think that the way they're doing it could get kind of annoying, because you basically have the priest explaining everything as it happens in Tandy's and Ty's real life. So, I mean, it depends on how far, you know, that goes with you, but I didn't mind it. It was really noticeable. It was like really like in your face there, like everything he was explaining. But it didn't ruin the episode. So, we get more of the aunt, of Evita's aunt, and she's doing the voodoo thing. And I really, okay, I get it. New Orleans, this is, you know, fine, but the voodoo thing just really feels like it doesn't need to be there. She's there to, I don't know, explain the bad stuff that's happening. Like, I really don't know why she's there. I don't think that, she's not really adding anything for me. And it's just sort of, I don't care about it. I don't care about the whole voodoo thing. She's sort of a distraction. I don't know what she adds to the show. You except it was kind of funny watching this woman walk around the streets with a bottle of rum. Like, this black woman walk around barefoot through New Orleans with a bottle of rum, like drinking a bottle of rum, and she doesn't get arrested or stopped or anything. Like, she walks around all night with a bottle of rum, and she's doing that thing where she drinks some rum and then she spits it out and she's drawing on the ground. And I don't care about, I don't know. And I don't know what she was drawing on the floor. So that's also like a thing that I really didn't understand. Not the floor, but what she's drawing on the ground. She has like chalk, and she warns Evita about Roxanne, and it's just a whole thing that I kind of dipped out of. I was like not really paying that close of attention, so maybe I missed something. And if I did, I don't know, tweet me at NurtureverPod and tell me like what I missed, but whatever. I kind of don't care about them. We didn't need her and the priest explaining everything in the episode. And she wasn't explaining that much. Like, and even she talks to Evita, and Evita is like, I forget what she's saying to Evita, but she's like drunk, and she's telling Evita that she has to talk to Ty, and Evita doesn't know what she's talking about. So it's like, okay, if Evita doesn't even know what she's talking about, why is she here? But whatever. And she mentioned, I guess she's there because she actually mentions the divine pairing. So maybe that's why she was there. I don't know. So Tandy is all fucked up from what happened in the last episode, knowing her father was a piece of shit. So she has just gone off the deep end. Both her and Ty have regressed. And that's what Drunk Priest is teaching the class about, regression and all that. And they've both regressed. We see Tandy is, she's back to like cutting up pills and snorting them. Ty has sort of given in to he's finally given in to his anger. So he is just on edge in the entire episode. And then he starts fucking people up. We get a Stan Lee cameo. Some guy that Tandy is trying to scam has like an artwork of Stan Lee. So it's like, that's kind of cool. Stan Lee cameo. I liked it. But Tandy has started stealing people's hopes. She goes into, the first person we see it to is just some rando guy. She goes into his, his hopes, and she's basically getting high off of people's hopes. And this is what Ty was talking about a few episodes ago. Not specifically, her stealing people's hopes, but doesn't she feel like she's violating people? And she didn't before, but now she is definitely violating people. She's actually, from her own mouth, she's stealing people's hopes. And what we see happen is that when she gets inside of their hopes, she touches them while she's there, and it just sucks all of the happiness out of them, basically. Now, I don't know how long that lasts, but, she's taking their hopes. And it leaves the guy like sort of depressed and laying down on the couch. But Tandy is sitting there like she just got like a hit of, I don't know, some drug. And she's like almost euphoric sitting on the floor. She's getting high off of people's hopes. It's kind of creepy. Bridget O'Reilly, she's all fucked up because she finds his body, and she finds her boyfriend's body, and there's the investigation or like the evidence gathering going on while she's just sitting there. She actually finds the murder weapon. Whoever killed him, whoever Connors had kill him, left the murder weapon under the couch, and she finds it. And so she spends the rest of the episode being drunk and sad, and gets her ass beat by Connors at the end of the episode. She attacks Connors at the sort of little memorial thing that the cops are having in some bar for Fuchs, Connor shows up like nothing happened. And he just shows up and he's like to Fuchs, like, we're going to get whoever killed him. Like, he doesn't know who killed him. Like, he's such a dickhead. And so O'Reilly sees him and she grabs a stick that's called Backbreaker, the name of the episode. The Backbreaker is like this cop's stick that they use to beat people when they're rioting, mostly black people. So, she takes it off the wall and she starts hitting him with it. But since everything is going bad, he gets the best of her and he starts beating her ass. Like, she's on he punches her in the face a few times. She falls on the floor and he's like kicking her while she's on the ground. And there's all these cops there standing there watching him. And once he finishes beating her up, she's there on the floor. And then they they're like, oh, okay, let's continue drinking. And it's just like really fucked up. So Tandy goes to bail Liam out of jail. She got all the money from Scarborough, and she takes it back to her church and she hides it in a statue, a broken statue. She goes to bail Liam out of jail, and she's talking to Liam about how she wants to get married now, and she's hugging him, and Liam is not feeling it. He's like, I thought you left town, but you didn't leave. I found out you didn't leave town, so I thought you just forgot about me. And she's trying to explain, like, no, I didn't do any of that. I'm here now, baby. I love you so much. Baby, please take me back. Like, she is, and Liam is just not feeling it at all. She takes him to her church and everything. Like, she kind of trying to be honest with him, but not really, because what she wants to do is steal Liam's hopes too. It's so fucked up. What's going on with Ty is that he's frustrated with his parents. His parents get called to the police station. They find out about Connor's confession and they sort of don't react to it. They're not happy about it. And they're not reacting the way that Tyrone thought they would. He thought that they would be happy to know that he wasn't lying all those years ago, that he actually was right about who killed Tyrone, and they were not feeling it. And that just sort of put him over the edge. He goes to school and they do this really cool thing throughout the episode with Ty and Tandy where they sort of cut the sound and you can only hear the music. So Ty and Tandy are sort of like, they're sort of just walking through and people are talking to them, but they're sort of not paying attention to them. They can't hear them. And so they do it with both of them in the episode where they sort of cut the sound and, they're sort of they sort of hear it like they sort of hear people talking like they're underwater or something. And so Ty is in school and he's, he bumps into his teammate, the white teammate that, set him up to be beat up. And he just goes off on that guy. They bump into each other. And then Ty just turns around and beats his ass. And he gets sent to Drunk Priest. And Drunk Priest is telling him, like, yo, you're fighting a war that's already over. And he punishes him like some, like, really old school, like, punishment. He gives him 2 heavy books to hold. Like, this is some type of military school type of shit. He gives him 2 books to hold, like, out to his side, like his arms out, like, Jesus on the cross style. And he puts 2 heavy books in his hands and he makes him stand there like that. And it's like, yo, I I was getting really mad because it's like, yo, Ty's father doesn't even put hands on him, like punish him like that. And you got this drunk priest over here, like punishing him. And it's like, is that legal? I was so upset. I was like, drunk priest, like handle your own shit. You don't treat Ty this way. But, obviously it wasn't a problem because he did. And Ty was in his office holding those books for most of the episode. And we get to the end of the episode, and Ty, drunk priest, comes to talk to Ty, and Ty is just having none of it. He's like, fuck all this noise. You're trying to explain to me about how, you don't know shit about my life, is basically what he tells him. You don't know shit about my life. You can tell me I'm fighting a war that's not over, blah, blah, blah. But, you're hiding here. You're a priest here, but you're hiding here. And, you can't, like, you're telling me about God and God isn't real. Like, fuck all that. And they actually, Ty swings on him and they get into a fight, and the priest touches him and they get sucked into the priest's nightmare. And while that's happening, Tandy has already touched Liam. And they're in his, I guess it's his hope at this point. And we see the marriage, the wedding happening, and they're in the church, and Tandy is about to touch Liam to steal his hope. And Ty is seeing the priest's worst nightmare, and it's the priest in a crashed car in the woods drinking. The car is all like totaled and fucked up, and he's sitting there with a bottle of, liquor in his hand. There's a dead little girl and like laying on the ground, all bloody and everything. And, he's like, oh shit. And then he walks up to the church, and you can hear, there's some sort of explosion or something that happens, and it starts shaking the church that Tandy and Liam are in. And then Ty walks in and he sees her about to touch Liam, and he's like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, Tandy? And that's when they all get sucked out of the dream. And she turns around and she looks to see if Ty is actually in the room. And Tandy is pissed. She's so pissed that she goes to Ty's school the next day, and she's telling him, like, yo, my dude, stay out of my head. And Ty is like, what the fuck are you even talking about? I don't want to be in your head. I got my own shit going on. Like, I don't have time to deal with the Tandy Bowen, problem over here. I don't want to be in your head. And they just basically, Tandy lashes out at Ty, and she tells him, he wants to know what she was doing to Liam, why she was, what the fuck she was doing to him. And she's telling him that she was taking out her anger on Liam the way her dad did to her mom. And Tandy gets really nasty when she gets mad, because she calls Ty a baby, and she tells him, she's mad because she thinks that he caught his brother's killer, and he's telling her, like, no, wrong. This didn't help me. Catching Connors didn't help. It made everything worse. And Tandy's like, oh, poor baby. Like, she does that a lot. She diminishes, Ty's problems a lot. Like, when she's talking to him, she diminishes his pain a lot. So, that's her way of lashing out, to diminish him. And she calls him a baby a few times. She tells him that he's, he needs to get over it, and that, he should already know by now that things don't work out the way that you want them to, and that she's just being an asshole. And he tells her, she tells him when she tells him to grow up, he tells her, I'm not taking advice. I'm not going to the Bowen School of Wellness. And she gets like really pissed at that. And she pulls a dagger on him and he looks her straight in the eye and says, I'll see you in your dreams. And he walks away. Oh, and the other thing that happens is that Tandy tries to steal Evita's hopes. She walks up when Tandy walks up into Ty's school. Ty is there with Evita, and Evita is being like, she's being really pushy, trying to get Ty to talk like the way her auntie told her to. And Evita gets into Tandy's face like, yo, back off of my man, kind of like Ty has other shit going on. And when Evita touches her, she goes into Evita's hopes, and Evita wants to be a doctor one day. So we see sort of adult Evita as a doctor, and Tandy touches her in her dream, and Evita stops her. And that's when Evita recognizes who Tandy is. She's like, oh shit, it's you. And Evita runs away. But Tandy wants to know, like, how the fuck did you stop me from stealing your hopes? Like, how did you stop me from hurting you, basically? And Evita runs away. And we see Evita later in the episode, at the end of the episode, making a wax figure of Tandy the way that the aunt made the figure of Tyrone. So, whatever. Evita knows something. We'll see next week. So once Tandy and Ty, they tell each other off, they walk away from each other. Ty goes home and he finally talks to his mom. And we get the conversation that I have been wanting them to have. Like I've so been wanting Ty to be able to talk to his parents, and I think specifically his mom, because his mom is obviously the one. I don't want to say she's the boss of the house, but she's obviously she's the one that's holding the family together. So he had to talk to her. So his mom calls him into the kitchen and is like, okay, it's time for us to talk. You can ask me anything you want. And he asked her why she never believed him, why they never wanted to believe him, and why they never did anything about Billy's death, why they never pursued the killer, why they never wanted to, fight. And she tells him, yo, a white cop killed our son, and we knew that he had to have help to cover it up, and that we couldn't risk your life in order to catch Billy's killer. It just wasn't worth it to us. And Ty is he's really fucked up, because he's like, yo, I've been here for the last 8 years thinking that you thought I was a liar, and that, you've been watching me, and I've been trying to do everything right. And it's like nothing is working. And she's telling him that the fight wasn't worth it. And she tells him, what were you thinking? You made yourself a target of the police by going to record Connors. And he's telling her, he has a really idealistic view of everything. Hey, I got him on tape. I got witnesses to his confession, and I have a recording of it. And she's like, oh, my sweet child, where have you been for the last, I don't know how long? You were working with a white cop, and you got another white cop's confession on tape. Since when has that made a difference? And it's such a real moment, because you can see both of their points of view. You can see Tyrone's hey, I have the evidence, I was right about this. I didn't have to carry this burden with me. I was right. And she's telling him, no, these things for a black kid, they don't matter. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter. Like, having videotape, having tape of white cops doing things to black people has not helped. And I think it's not helped. It's just all I'll say. It hasn't been the help that people thought that it would be. So Tyrone is telling her, like, well, if I do everything right, if I pull my pants up, if I go to school, if I, get my education, if I do everything right and I can still die, then what's the point? And he tells her that he wants to fight. He doesn't want to live like this for the rest of his life. He doesn't want to he doesn't want to be, twice as good to get half as much anymore. He wants to fight for what he believes is right. And, she tells him that she gets it and she calls him brave. And then the cops show up. Oh my God. They're on the bullhorn. They're like surrounding the house. And it's like, oh shit, Tyrone. Like, and I couldn't hear what the cops said. I think they're there because they think, I think they think he murdered Fuchs. So they come to the house and they're busting down the door. So it's crazy shit going on. But Ty runs out of the house. And then Tandy goes to her church because after she talks to Ty and she, thinks about shit for a little while, she decides to go back to her church because she wants to apologize to Liam and try to make things right with her mom and everything. And Liam is gone and so is all her money. And I'm like, I feel bad for you, but Tandy, you did kind of have this coming. Like, you had this coming. Like, you knew, like, you couldn't leave a dude in jail like that as long as you left Liam in jail, and then think that you could just bail him out and shit would just be cool again. Like, you call Ty a baby and you tell him he's not looking at, what's happening in the real world. But I feel like that was Tandy sort of getting another wake up call. Like, girl, you're not as streetwise, immature as you think you are. Like, no. So her money's gone. And she hadn't even told her mom about that money yet. So, she's got a lot to say, her mom, and she goes to her mom's house and she's like, looking for her. And the lady that killed Pink Robe Greg, the lady that delivered the water, is there, threatening, like, she actually shoots at Tandy, and then is threatening to kill her mom. And, shit just gets real. And the episode ends with the lady counting down, telling Tandy to come out or she's going to kill her mom. Like, how can you end an episode like that? It was so good. Like, the end of that episode was so tense. It was so great. I do wonder if Tandy's mom is going to die. Like, I wonder who is going to die in this season finale. Like, I don't think everybody's going to live. There has to be a death, right? But you also have to go into the second season with hope that Tandy and Ty can, like, fix shit. So I don't know. Little straggler things that happened that I didn't get into. Tandy steals Mina's hope as well, which was so sad to me. Tandy goes to have lunch with Mina and Ivan Hess, and that's when Mina offered Tandy the job. But when Mina tries to shake her hand, Tandy takes her hand, and you can tell throughout the lunch, she's getting really upset seeing Mina with her father. Mina and Ivan are like having these like father-daughter moments, and it's really starting to drive Tandy like crazy. She can't even, it's making her really upset. And so when she touches Mina, she sees Mina's like hope is to like be in a field of like flowers or something like that. And she steals Mina's hope while she's there. And then she says, now you know how it feels. And she leaves. And then Mina kills B. Arthur. I'm like, oh shit, Tandy. Oh, it was like so bad. Like, really? Like, Mina's trying to be your friend and you steal her hope, and then her hopelessness makes her kill B. Arthur. Oh, Tandy, you ain't shit. So, and the other thing that happens with Mina is that Mina, there's another like mess up at Roxxon. Mina is going out there at night to like fix this pipe, because Roxxon is still cutting corners and everything like we know they do. And, there are two guys already out there, and she's trying to warn them to get away from the pipe because it might explode, and it actually explodes. And we see in real life what happened in Ivan's mind a few weeks ago, where they get blasted by whatever was in that energy that was in that pipe, and they turn like to their worst selves and they start chasing Mina. It was really scary. Like they start chasing her like they're the zombies from 28 Days Later, like the fast zombies. It's just it's scary. I don't want anything to happen to Mina. I need Mina to be in the second season. Like, I love Mina. I really love her. She's really cute. What else did I miss? Did I miss anything? I want to get everything before we get into this finale. Listen to that. They're so fucking loud. What else? I know I'm missing something, and I can't think of it. All right, you guys. I can't think of it, so that is the end of the episode. I don't even know what to predict. I know that Tandy and Ty have to figure out a way to be able to touch each other, so that they can work together. So yeah, they have to work together in order to save things, because obviously shit is going to go crazy. That explosion drove those two people crazy. Like the pipe explosion. We see the pipes are all throughout the city. So if that happens in other places, that means that other people could turn too, and shit could go really crazy. So it'll be up to Tandy and Ty to, to try to fix things. So, they have to be able to work together, and they have to be able to touch each other in order for their powers to work the best. I think the way that Tandy's mom gets the way they saw the truth when Tandy's mom touches both of them is the way I think they need to be able to touch each other in order to work together to amplify both of their powers. I do want to know what's going to happen, because I want to know what's going to happen with O'Reilly. I mean, I already told you I need them to change her character a little bit in the second season. I need my Mina to be safe, because I can't deal with a world where Mina is not safe. I wonder what's going to happen with Tandy's mom. I do wonder if Tandy's mom is going to live. Oh, the woman, the water delivery woman, she tells Tandy that she's from Scarborough. So Scarborough gave Tandy that money and then sent, his assassin out to kill her. So, I mean, we knew he wasn't shit, but whatever. I need Connors to die. Like, it's not enough for him to go to jail. I need him to die. I need somebody to kill him in the next episode, because he is just the worst. So that is my hope for the next episode. Above anything else, is just for Connors to die a slow, painful death. That's what I need. Oh, and I hope it can be Ty, because one of Ty's powers in the comic books is when he shows people their worst fears, where they go into his like darkness, the longer the person stays inside of his, darkness, it sort of drives them crazy. And if they're there for too long, it could kill them. So I want that to happen to Connors. I want him to be drawn into Ty's darkness and then to stay there so long that he dies. Yeah, that's what I need to happen. So this episode is getting really long, so I'm going to stop it here. So you can follow me on the socials. Follow me on Twitter at NerdTravertPod. Use the hashtag NerdyWatch to live tweet with me and to chat with me. Because I live tweet this episode, not this episode, but Cloak and Dagger every week. And, I'll do Fear the Walking Dead when that show comes back. So yeah, follow me at NerdTravertPod. On Instagram, I'm at The Introverted Nerd, and go to facebook.com/The Introverted Nerd and like and follow that page. I post the episodes there every week. If you want to send me feedback, you can send it to theintrovertednerd@gmail.com. Tell me what you think is going to happen in the finale, or tell me what you thought about this season overall. And you can follow me personally on Twitter as well at the Ms. Introvert. That's THEMS Introvert. And I don't know. I post random shit over there. Like, that's just all of my crazy ramblings of all the other shit that I like that I don't put on the podcast page. So follow me there. You can listen to all the episodes of the podcast at the website, theintrovertednerd.com, because all of the episodes don't show up in Apple. So if you want to go to the back episodes, if you want to start from the beginning with Saved by the Bell and all that for my Saved by the Bell rewatch, or if you want to go back to listen to my episodes on Black Lightning, go to the introverted nerd at Gmail, not at Gmail, the introvertednerd.com, and listen to the episodes there. So until that finale next week, you guys, I'm so excited for it. I can't wait until that finale. I'm really like genuinely excited for this finale. So until next time, you guys, bye-bye.